So lying on our backs, we're hugging the right knee in and then take hold of the foot. So I want you to do a variety of different things with you tonight, but one of them is going to Titivasana. I think I sent you the link or the picture in the email. So Titivasana is a sort of balancing pose where we really have to squeeze the knee in towards the arm. So obviously this is not a balancing pose, but it will allow us to create the shape that we need for this balancing pose. It's a little bit, you might say it's a little bit like crow pose. So it's happy baby that we're working, but with just one foot. And that gives you the opportunity to really bring that knee in low towards the armpit. And then you can take the right arm and bring it to the inside of the leg. So the knee can sort of squeeze in towards the outer arm. So you can feel that in the hip. So you feel quite strong in the hip. And yeah, we're kind of working the inner thigh a little bit to squeeze it into the arm, but then you can relax it. So relax any effort and just go for the stretch. The left leg can stretch away. Left foot can stretch away. And then we're going to swap. So we're going to take the left knee and hug that in. The right foot can be flat on the floor. And then take hold of the foot. So we're going to lift the foot up towards the ceiling and move the arm down towards the armpit. And again, we can sort of experiment with squeezing the outer arm and then relaxing it. And maybe extending the right foot away if you want something a little bit stronger. We'll do both legs in a minute. And feel free to make this, sort of roll around a little bit in this. You don't have to, yeah, you can kind of let the foot roll out and the knee roll out a little bit. And then we're going to pick up the right foot and we're going to take both feet. So we're in the more sort of conventional happy baby, holding the feet, rolling a little from left to right. And now let's just see, as a little experiment, starting with the right foot, let's see if we can push that or press that arm underneath the knee. So we're taking the right arm and we're going to weave it underneath the leg, just to see if it feels doable, and it may not. Experimenting. And then we'll swap to the other side. So we'll take hold of the left foot and weave the left arm underneath the knee, underneath the thigh. Again, you can kind of roll a little bit. As you do that. And then we're going to wrap our arms, take hold of the feet, and we're going to roll back and forward until we come up to sitting. Let's just keep hold of the foot once you come up. If you can keep hold of the foot, that's great. If you're feeling like your back's a bit sore, maybe it's a bit too strong to keep holding the feet, then of course you can bring them down so the heels are down. But and then we'll tip back. So it's almost like when we're doing boat pose, where we let the torso drop back. We're really going to knit those ribs in. Feel the ribs knitting in, and the belly pulling in and out, and the shoulders rolling back and down. Maybe go for something a little bit stronger, extending the feet. Just you know, take it easy. Especially if you've not done yoga for a while, you might want to just lift one foot rather than both feet. And if balance is feeling difficult, then perhaps just keep the other foot on the floor. One foot completely on the floor, and the other foot extended. And again, we're trying to keep the torso dropping back a little bit, like we do when we do boat. Just sort of playing around, but still there's some strength, core strength. And then let's just bring both feet down and let your body drape it over the knees. Got the legs bent, both feet down, you can drop the head. Breathe into the back of the body, so breathe into the spine. Take your feet quite wide now, so they come as wide as the mat, and then let your hands drop down between your legs, so you're going to bring them to the floor. So sort of like a very relaxed forward bend, with wide-legged forward bend, but we've got the legs quite bent. And it may not go very low if you feel a bit stiff. It may not, you may not find that you go very far. Don't worry, it's work in progress. Drop the head. Breathe into the back of the body, so feel that expanding as you breathe in and out. And then just to work a little bit more the stretch that we were doing on our backs, we're going to, with our right hand, take hold of the left shin and see if we can press our knee in towards the outer arm. So we're kind of just experimenting with bringing the body low between the legs and using the grip on the left leg to sort of help you press that knee in a little bit towards the arm. And then we'll go to the other side. So we're taking the right arm, holding the right shin or the ankle, and and sort of gently pulling the knee in, and pressing it into the outside of the arm. And then just relax your grip and let the hands rest on the floor between the legs. If you want to adjust the legs a little bit, maybe go wider if you feel that's appropriate. So it's a bit of hip opening, but there's also flexibility that we're building up in the back. And then we're going to come up, and we're just going to come all the way around to all fours. Spread your hands, so really look down at your hands. We're trying to sort of be really attentive to the details here. So fingers spread, middle finger points forward, shoulders over your wrists. We're going to take like a little baby plank here, so the knees can go back a little bit, but we're keeping the knees down. Take it gentle. And then really feel those lower abdominal muscles engage. If it helps, if you've not used them for a while, you might want to give them a little tap. Sometimes that works for me quite nicely. And then we'll, from here, move into a little baby chaturanga. So it doesn't have to be, you know, a big drop down. We're keeping the elbows quite neatly pressed in towards the body, and we're bending the arms so the shoulders move forward. And it doesn't have to be much. It could just be a small dip with the shoulders down. If you can hold it for a moment, that'd be great. And then push up. So we're back in that sort of plank shape. So we'll do a couple more of those. And feel free, by the way, if you at this point, if you do feel like you want to take a full plank, if only for a moment, then you could do that. And then maybe for the chaturanga, bring the knees down, unless you're feeling very strong. Just drop down into that little baby chaturanga dandasana. Pushing up. When you're ready, we can do that again. So one more time. So if you want to briefly do a full plank, do. Otherwise, just keep the knees down. The elbows in, drop down a little with the shoulders, hold it if you can, and then all the way back to child pose. But we're making it quite an active child pose, so the bum comes onto the heels, the knees go wide, and we're really extending through the hands. So you can make little claws with your hands, really reaching away with the hands. The head can come down, but keep reaching with your hands. Breathe into the side body. And then to help you stretch out the side body, we're going to move the hands all the way around to the left side. Press the right buttock down to the heel as you do that. And then go all the way to the other side. And then back to center. And we're coming up into downward dog. Lift your right foot. We're taking a three-legged dog, so let the foot go back behind you. Really engage the left buttock, so we're keeping the left buttock is stabilizing you here, squeezing in. And then we're going to step that right foot forward between the hands. And you can just hold this lunge for a moment. If you want to bring the knee down, do that. If you feel like it's good to keep it lifted, keep it lifted. Just pausing, really stretching out through the heel. If you've got the knee lifted. And lifting your chest. Looking forward. And then we're going to bring that back knee down and we're going to come up, but pausing sort of midway, so the hands come up so that they're parallel with the floor, and we're just going to hold this for a moment so you get to engage your belly, core a little bit, and then all the way up into your Anjaneyasana, present lunge. You can really press that back thigh forward. And then we're going to come all the way down, so the hands come to the big toe side of the foot, flat on the big toe side of the foot, and then we're going to get that stretch that we did a moment ago when we were in Happy Baby. So we're trying to find that sort of deep stretch, dropping the torso low and pressing the knee in towards the arm and the arm in towards the knee. And maybe, depending, one day you might feel like comfortable to bring the forearm down or just come a little lower with your torso. Now pick up the back knee we're going to turn the right foot, the front foot, and come into a low squat. So we're dropping, turning to the long edge of the mat. And the left heel is pressed down and the left toes are lifted. It's quite a challenging balance, this. So if you want to keep the hands down, please do. But if you feel like you might want to, you're feeling fairly confident, you might want to lift the right hand, bring it up into the heart. If that all feels okay, perhaps lift the left. Sit up a bit more. Otherwise, just keep. And then bring both hands down. And lift the bum and squeeze that right knee into the right arm. And then we're going to just walk the hands all the way to the back foot and drop low into that squat. Skandasana, it's called. So we've got the left leg bent and the right leg straight. We're on the heel of the right leg. I know it's a little bit tricky. Hold that. Hands down, and if you feel stable, you can maybe lift the left hand and bring it up into the heart. If that feels okay, maybe take the other hand up. Pause. Both hands come down, and you lift your bum. And before we go back to the front of the mat, we'll just feel that, see if we can work that stretch again. So dropping the arm low so that the knee squeezes into the outer arm. And then all the way back, walk the hands all the way back, come into your low lunge. Right foot forward, left foot back. Hands either side of the foot. And we'll come from here into a downward dog. Just walk the feet, stretch out the legs. Lift your heels and turn them to the right, and then press very firmly into the left hand so you feel a nice stretch down the left side. Lift your heels, turn them back to center, and then turn them to the right. And now press more into the right hand. Heels to the left and press more into the right hand. To get more of the stretch down the right side. And then come back to center, lift your left foot. Engage that right glute. So you're really sort of pressing the glute in towards the midline, and that will give you more stability in the pose, because obviously lifting the left leg is going to slightly destabilize you. And then we're going to step that left foot forward. And just hold this lunge for a moment. If you want the back knee lifting, keep it up. If you feel like you want slightly gentler lunge, bring the knee down. Just holding it for a moment. You can press out through the heel, lift your chest a little bit, look forward. Hands either side of the foot. And then we're going to come up into Anjali-asana. But before we do that, hold the hands so they are parallel with the floor. We're pausing here, so you need to sort of slightly awkward position to hold. So you need to feel those abdominals pulling in and up to stabilize you. And then all the way up. Pressing that right thigh forward. And the hands come down. This time the hands are coming to the inside of the big toe. Just hold this for a moment and squeeze a little bit, that being there's a bit of strength when you squeeze the leg into the arm, but to do that you need to get quite low. So maybe feeling flexible, you can experiment with perhaps bringing the forearm down, one forearm, or just, even if it's just momentary, bringing it a bit lower. Tuck your toes, the toes of the back foot under. So we're going to do that strange little sort of squat. So we're going to be turning towards the long edge of the mat. So you can lift your back knee quite high, so the bum comes up, and then you're turning the feet. Skandasana. So it's the left leg that's bent and the right leg that's straight. I've just turned around. If you're confused I just turn around so I can see you. And you're going to stretch out that right leg, pull the toes back towards you. It is an awkward sort of pose, so you probably need to keep your hands down. But if you feel strong, stable, then you can bring the hand up. If that feels okay, bring both hands together. And then both hands come down again. Lift your bum, and this is where we're just going to get that little squeeze going on, arm pressing into or knee pressing into the outer arm. And then moving all the way back to the back foot, so that we're Skandasana again, but it's on the other leg. So right leg bent, left leg straight. Keep your hands down. And if you're finding this a bit much, feel free to just adapt it. So the ways you could adapt it are, you could be completely on your bum if your hips finding it too much, or you could just lift up a bit so your bum's much higher, and then it's just a lot easier. If you're feeling like you want more challenge, then you can put your hands up into your heart. We're just going to come out of this, so hands down, lift the bum. Before we do that, before we go back to the front, give a little squeeze to the outer arm with the knee, and then walk all the way back, coming into a lunge. Hands either side of the foot this time, and then step back into downward dog. And slowly walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Drape your body over your legs. Bring your hands up so we come halfway. Heel of the hands pressing into the front of the thigh. And you need to engage we're trying to get a long straight back here. So that might mean, to do that, you might need to bend your knees a bit. Got lower abdominals up towards your spine. Crown of the head moves forward. Your gaze looks down to the floor. Little bend in the arms, coming all the way up to standing. Turn the palms out towards the walls either side of you, and then bring them all the way up towards the ceiling. So here, turn the palms out again, so you're pressing them out to the walls either side. Bring them all the way back down. And then from here, we're going to come back down to that halfway Uttanasana, half forward bend. And then down into a squat. So we're at the point where we get to practice, or we're coming to the pose that we've been working towards. So we're going to just see if we can get those arms pressed into the inside of the legs. You can lift your bum a little bit as you do that. Really squeeze the legs into the arms and the arms into the legs. Lift your bum. Allow the weight to move a little towards sort of onto the arms, so your weight's drifting forwards. And then we're just stepping back with the right foot from here. Left leg. Coming your way up into Anjaneyasana. Arms up overhead, pressing the right foot, right thigh forward. Arms overhead. And then come halfway down. So again, we're having to work to keep that stability in the lower back. So the belly really has to work hard. Arms parallel with the floor. Palms facing towards each other. And then bring both hands down into the big side, big toe side of the foot. And the right foot, we're going to just step it back. So we're back in that sort of slightly awkward squatting position. And if you can take a lower squat if you prefer. You don't have to be hovering your leg. You can bring your bum right down. Or if you're, it depends what feels more comfortable. So just before we go to the other side, just see if you can squeeze the knees in towards the outer arm. And then we're going to step back with the left foot. So in a lunge. Coming all the way up into Anjaneyasana, crescent lunge. Left thigh presses forward, arms up overhead. Spread your fingers, really reach up with your fingers. And then we're going to come halfway down. So arms parallel with the floor and hold it there, gauge your belly. Well done. Hands either side of the foot. And we're stepping forward with the left foot. And we're just taking Uttanasana, forward bend. So just drape your body over the legs. You'll bend your knees as much as you need to, let the head drop. Bring your hands up onto the thighs, so the heel of the hand presses into the top of the thigh. We're going for that halfway forward bend, so half. Fine long, crown head moves forward, bend the knees if you need to. If you don't know if you need to, sometimes it's hard to know whether you need to bend your knees, then just experiment with bending the knees. And usually, for me anyway, that creates more length in my lower back. So we're trying to make the back long in this. And then coming up to standing, turn your palms out, so really press them out as though they're going to press into the wall either side, bring them all the way up overhead. And then we're going to turn the palms out again, down, as we come into down to the sides of the body. So we're going to experiment with a little bit with warrior 3. So I do tend to do lots of standing warriors with you, but maybe not quite enough of the balancing warriors. So we're going to lift the heel of the right foot. And we're just going to experiment with taking that right foot back behind you. So we're doing this quite loosely. I can make it very sort of rigid attention to detail, but I haven't maybe done so much over the past week or so. So we're just making it quite loose, like a pendulum. We're going to take that foot back and forward. And the arms stay around the hips. Just coming up and down. And if your back's sore or you're finding it really challenging, then bend the knees a bit. Experimenting. And to stabilize you, really pull up those lower abdominals. To bring the foot back. So we've got both feet together. We'll lift the left heel now. make the right leg solid. And then we're going to do that on the left side. So just be quite tentative, letting that left foot move back behind you, and see if you can make the front body, the top body move in evenly with the bottom as the leg moves up. A lot easier with the hands by the side. The full pose, you take your arms out in front, so you can try that a bit later. And yeah, the balance is more important than the alignment at this point. So better to have the leg a little bit lower, especially if you're feeling wobbly. Really engage those abdominals, those lower abdominals. We're going to come, so both feet are back, solid on the floor. I'm pausing here. We're going to take our hands onto the front of the thigh and drop into Uttanasana, but the halfway fold. So again, it's like the shape we do in Warrior 3. But we've got the stability because we're not lifting the leg at this point. Really feel that the lower abdominals, pick them up towards and press them up towards your. And then bring the hands down. So we're in full forward fold. And we're dropping into squat again. So hands on the inside of the feet. If at this point you feel you want to, practice your crow, please feel free to do that. You can kind of squeeze your knees in towards the arms. You can maybe lift one foot or both feet. That feels good. If you prefer to just stay in the squat, low squat, then that's nice as well. It's both beneficial. You can bring your hands up if you didn't want to do the full balance, but you felt like bringing a little bit more of a challenge. Keep the hands up and start. Stretch your heels. I don't expect them to come to the floor, but you can experiment with sort of stretching them down away towards the floor, towards the wall behind you. And then we're bringing the hands back to the floor if you've lifted them. And we're just going to step all the way back with the right foot. So a lunge. Now we're going to come up to Anjaneyasana, and let's just pause as we do that. So the hands come to that sort of shape that you would make if you were doing your Warrior 3, where the arms are extended in front of you. Just building that strength, the whole poised, poised with arms. And then coming all the way up into Anjaneyasana. And if you want something slightly stronger, you can lift the back knee. In fact, let's all lift the back knee. Sorry, I was thinking, yeah, this is a good opportunity to come up if you can. So we're in a lunge, a high lunge. And we're just going to step that back foot in a little bit. So we're not quite so extended. The arms are up overhead. And we're going to take them forward, just as we did when we were doing the low lunge. So the arms parallel with the floor. And then you get to practice your Warrior 2 from here. Hopefully you feel like you've built up enough strength in the upper body. And remember, you don't have to lift up very high. Try and focus on keeping the torso long. And then you can work on the back leg coming up. It is harder, isn't it, with the arms extended? So if you feel like you want to slightly bend them, or if it just feels too strong and you want to bring them back towards your hips, then you could do that. And then we're going to slowly bring that back foot down. We're going to bring the hands either side of the foot. We're going to step back into downward dog. And then walking the feet all the way forward. Take a halfway forward fold. So your heel of the hands pressing into the front of the thigh again. So I like, if I do that, if I really press into the front of the thigh, I find that that helps me lengthen more. You can keep the bend in the knees as you do that. In the lower back, so sort of more belly, hollow belly. Maybe not if you've had a big tea, but that sort of feeling of pulling up. And then come to standing, turn your palms out, lift them all the way up. Turn your palms back out again, so they press as though pressing towards the outer wall, bring them all the way down towards your hips. Press them, the hands into the front of the thigh. Find that long spine. And then bring them down, Uttanasana. So hands to the floor, Uttanasana, just forward bend. Drop. And then from here, you can come back to the squat. So if you're not in the mood for arm balances, then just stay in a low squat. Enjoy the feeling that it gives in the lower back. It's a chance to sort of really lengthen the lower back. If you want a little bit more challenging, hands can come into the heart. If you want to practice your back asana, your crow, feel free. Or the pose that I featured in my little letter that I sent out is where you bring the hands, you actually bring the hands back behind the legs. You can experiment with that. You don't have to have you can have your bum quite lifted for this, so you don't have to be very low in a squat. So the hands can come back behind you, stretching them back, and then maybe you bring them so that they come to the out, so they come around the back of the heel and out to the outer foot. Just going to demonstrate. So you have to kind of really get the torso low for this. Hands to the outer foot. Just something to play with. But we did a little warm up for this from the beginning. So it's that flexibility that we had. We're relying on our backs. We're trying to bring our arms around underneath the thigh. That's what we're learning and working towards here. Titibhasana. It's a very strange pose. And if you feel like that's all okay, it's worked out quite nicely, I'll show you what the full pose would be. So the hands go flat on the floor. You do drop your bum. And then maybe lift one leg. And lift the other leg. It's firefly. So be careful on your wrists. It is tough. So I'm introducing this not as something necessarily to master in one go, but just as I'm planting the seed that we can look at it as we progress. Looks really good, by the way. All of you, you've got brilliant alignment, I have to say. So, and it's really hard. So don't be discouraged if it's being difficult. It's really challenging. So what we did at the beginning, happy baby, all that stuff we want, bringing the arm under, it's all really good. Those low lunges as well. So let's do the other side. So from your squat, you're stepping the left foot back now. The right foot forward, left foot back. Hands hands on the inside of the right foot. And we're keeping the knee down for the moment. And then we're going to bring the arms up. So the arms are parallel with the floor. Engage your belly. So this is preparation for your warrior. We're trying to get length in the torso, arms extended, belly strong. And then coming up, arms overhead. Tuck the toes under from here. Come up into your high lunge, so the back heel is lifted. Now this is a big, it's difficult to do a warrior from here. So what I'd suggest, unless you're feeling very strong, is to just hop that back foot in a little bit. And then we're just lifting the back foot like a pendulum. Arms in. If I know this is, for me, this feels a lot harder with the arms extended. So if you feel like that's a bit too much, bring the hands down by your hips and do it that way. Yeah, you're doing really well. It's really difficult. Warrior 3, sorry. The toes point down, by the way, for this. We're taking ourselves back into that lunge, so very gently drop the back foot. Pause for a moment. And bring our hands all the way back to the floor. Bring the back knee down, and we're going to come into child pose. So both knees on the floor, and take your bum back toward your heels. Deep breaths here. Relax the face, relax the jaw. Wanted to do some twists with you. So we're going to come to sitting on our bums, slightly different. Legs out in front. We're bending the left leg, we're extending the right leg. We're going to take the right arm and hug that left knee. And the left arm is coming behind us, so the left hand is supporting us. So you can, we want to keep so in a twist, what I often see is that people kind of lose their upright position. Either that's because they're leaning back or because they're hunching forward. So let's try and keep the sense of the alignment as being the fundamental thing, so that we're still feeling upright, nice sense of length. And that might mean you twist less. The left shoulder, we're kind of trying to open that shoulder a little bit. So that means one way you can do that is gently squeezing the shoulder blade in towards the spine. So we can make this this may be enough, this may be quite enough. We can make it a little bit stronger by lifting the right arm and then taking that elbow. And you might want to do this a few times, pressing the elbow into the outer knee, outer leg. And you can do your kind of actually, there's two things you can do. You can either have the arm straight, that might be quite enough just to do that. You can bend the arm and open the palm. It's a much stronger twist, so feels a bit much and you prefer to just hold the knee, go back to that option. Keep the right foot active. So that means keeping a little flexion in the foot. And then we're going to turn back towards the front. So we'll do it a little bit of something's a little bit different. This is where the belt could be useful. It's a slightly different kind of twist. So if you're going to use a belt, hold it in your left hand. So we've got the left leg bent still. We're going to lift that left arm this time. If you're using a belt, hold in the belt. And then you're going to reach forward between your leg, so towards the foot, as though you're going to touch the foot. You might find that you can very happily hold the foot. And again, it's a bit like what we were doing. It's the same kind of stretch for the Titibasana, for everything that we were doing. It's just a slightly different way of doing it, because we're bringing the torso low between the leg. So you can hold the leg, hold the foot. And that might be just where you want to stay, but if you're doing the full pose, you take that arm and you wrap it around the outer edge of the knee. It's a bit of a strange shape that you're making. And the belt is helpful because we can then reach for it with the other arm. So we take the right arm and reach for the belt. And then you're lowering your body. So it's a sort of forward bend, twisty sort of forward bend, lowering your body towards your leg. Now, don't feel that you have to force yourself to go low. If you're feeling like actually you prefer to stay up a bit more, you feel like you're getting more out of it, then just sit up. Make time to breathe. Quite hard in this session, so doing quite different things as well. Just take this opportunity for it to be a bit more of a wind down. And although the right leg is straight, if you need to just bend it a little bit to get more comfort, more ease in this, especially around the lower back, then just bend that right leg. We're going to finish in Janu Shasana because I know this is awkward. So let's just release the bind and take the left foot and bring it into the thigh, the right thigh. It could be lower on the leg. And this time you could just use the belt to hold the foot. If you want to use a belt, that's just optional, the belt. If you prefer to just sort of relax your body down, not holding on to anything. And again, feel free to sort of bend that right knee, make it a bit gentler. Or perhaps just coming up a little bit. Sort of, so low. Bring both feet out in front. And we'll do the other side. So it's the right knee that we're bending. And we're going to hug that right knee with the left arm. And this might be as far as you want to go. But the right hand comes loosely behind you, lightly pressing down. We're trying to open up that right shoulder. So one way to do that is sort of gently squeeze the shoulder blade in. Keep a little bit of flexion in the left foot, and bend the knee if you need to do a little bit on the left side. And we're turning. And there's a bit of abdominal squeeze going on here as well. It is an abdominal twist, so a little bit of those, as we did when we were doing the forward folds and the belly hugging back. Make time to breathe. Also that mindful of whether you're upright. If you're getting a massive twist but actually you've slumped a little bit, then better to have a nice upright position, less of a twist. So there is the option of going stronger, so you can take that left arm, reach up to lengthen on the left side, and then take the elbow and press it into the outer knee. So that's an option. You don't have to. Open the palm. And breathing. Easy to sort of forget, because it's a bit awkward breathing in a twist. It's very awkward. Maybe you want to twist a bit less so that you can breathe a bit more. So now we're taking that strange little position where we're holding the belt in the right arm. We're going to reach up with that right arm. We've got the right leg bent, and we're coming forward. So the torso comes low between the knee, between the legs, sorry. Elbow, arm between on the inside leg. And you can reach for the foot and hold the foot. You could use the belt as well to do that. So it's a bit like half a squat. And then, so that might be all you might be very happy just to stay here. Or this arm, this right arm with the belt, you reach around, so you're taking it. So you have to come quite low, that's the thing. Come quite low, and then the arm wraps around the leg. Reach for the belt with the left hand. So it's a sort of, it's quite awkward. So you want to push yourself a little bit, but if it's very uncomfortable, just come up a bit. Slacken off on the belt. Don't feel like you have to be really low. Flexion in the left foot. That makes it more of an active pose, but sometimes you don't always want to be active in every part of the body, so if you feel like you need to relax a bit, do. And then we're going to come up and we'll take, it's called Janu Shashasana. I think one of my favourite poses, I think, so the foot into the thigh or lower. If you want to still use the belt, you can lift it over the ball of the foot. You don't have to go very low. Or you could just let the body come in a very sort of loose way over the leg. listening to your breath. And then just taking your own time with this. If you want to hold this for a few moments more, then stay here. Otherwise, you can come up and come to lying on your back. So we're coming to Shavasana, but to get what you need for Shavasana, and then come to lying on your backs, and we'll do a little gentle happy baby. You can hold the feet, just roll a little from left to right. If you've had enough of knees, yeah, if you feel like you've done enough of this sort of stretch and you prefer to just bring the knees in, so it's not so much, the hip opening that just feels a bit much, and just prefer to hug one knee in, extend the other leg, then take that option, or do both. We'll finish with, just before we come to Shavasana, just bring the soles of the feet together, and you can rest your hands on around the groin and the thigh. Slowly extending the right foot so it comes towards the right corner of the mat. And the left foot can extend to the left corner of the mat. Let your feet sort of flop out, and take your Shavasana. If your back's sore, then maybe you'll be better with the legs bent or something under your knees. At this point, take your warm things, your cozy things. So much more of a lower body focus tonight, but do keep a little bit of awareness around the chest area, so you can even squeeze your shoulder blades in a little bit towards each other, just to open and broaden around the chest. There's a bit of your body that draws your attention or calls your attention around the hips, or lower back, or really making a special effort to relax. brow. You've had a day at work. Big day at work. It's the neck and the tops of the shoulders. The belly, low, holding and pulling back around the abdominal area. So really important to allow it to relax and be slack. Much focused on the gross body, the muscles, the bone. Deep squats and warriors. So shift our attention internally to sensation within energetic feeling. So, sense of warmth, pulse, vibration. some movement back into the body. Just rolling the head from side to side. More movements around the fingers and toes. And then just rolling over onto your side. Resting. And then very slowly, smoothly coming up to the sit. And we're just taking a comfortable seat. Thumb and forefinger together, and you can press a little bit down with the back of the hands and see if that helps you lengthen and lift in a comfortable way in the spine. Being open in the chest, roll the shoulders back and down, crown of the head lifted. Tuning into that sensation. Point between the thumb and the forefinger. Allowing everything else to soften. Drop your chin a little bit. So you feel a stretch in the back of the neck. Thumbs together, pressing them in towards your third eye. Thank you very much, everybody. It's very nice to see you all again. Just stop the recording.